Hello students, in last lecture we discussed about the Z transform of signals, and in this lecture we are going to discuss about the properties of the transform, which are very useful in finding out the Z transform when signals are actually more complicated. So first property that we will discuss is the linearity property, and for this let us consider two signals x1 of n and x2 of n, and let's say that the Z transform of x1 of n is x1 of z and Z transform of x2 of n is x2 of z. Then if x1 is multiplied with some constant a1 and similarly x2 is multiplied with some constant a2, then Z transform would be simply a1 multiplied by Z transform of x1 of n, which is x1 of z, plus a2 and multiplied by Z transform of x2 of n, which is x2 of z. So this is what the linearity property is. Now let us find out the Z transform of a signal using linearity property, right? Because this signal is actually sum of two signals. One is 3 into 2 power n and another is minus 4 into 3 power n. So we know that the Z transform of this kind of function is 1 upon 1 minus a into z minus 1. Right? We know that from the last lecture. So first find out the Z transform of this part and then Z transform of this part, and then add these together. So Z transform of 2 power n into u of n is equal to 1 upon 1 minus 2 into z minus 1. And similarly Z transform of 3 power n into un is 1 upon 1 minus 3z power minus 1. Right. Now the Z transform of entire function would be 3 multiplied with the Z transform of first part plus minus 4 multiplied with Z transform of second part. This one. This is how you can find out Z transform of any function which is combination. Now let us solve another example in which we are given x of n equal to cos omega naught n into u of n. We know that cos function can be written in this form using Euler's formula. So cos omega naught n is equal to 1 upon 2 exponent of j omega naught n plus 1 upon 2 exponent of negative j omega naught n. Now x of n is basically a sum of two complex exponentials, and they are both multiplied with some constant. Right? So we can use linearity property to find out the Z transform of this. So Z transform of this function would be now Z transform of this function. Right? So two different components are added together and they are both multiplied with some constant. Right? So first we will find out the Z transform of this part, e power j omega naught n into u of n, then Z transform of e power minus j omega naught n into u of n, and then we will sum these together and multiply the constants respectively. So Z transform of exponent into u of n we know is equal to 1 upon e power j omega naught into z power minus 1, just like the one we solved in example 1. Whatever power of n is multiplied with u of n, this is what Z transform would look like. Right? E power 1 minus e power j omega naught into z power minus 1. Similarly, with the negative power, it would be e1 minus e power minus j omega naught into z power minus 1. Now we can combine. So the Z transform of entire signal now would be 1 upon 2 multiplied by Z transform of e power j omega naught n plus 1 upon 2 Z transform of e power minus j omega naught n into u of n. Now if you want to simplify it further, we can actually substitute e power plus minus j omega naught with this trigonometric function, right? So substituting the value of exponential in terms of trigonometric functions, we will get this answer: 1 minus z power minus 1 into cos omega naught, and 1 minus 2 z power minus 1 cos omega naught plus z power minus 2. So this is the z transform of cosine function multiplied with unit step function. Now another important property is the time shifting property, right? So if x of the z transform of x of n is equal to x of z, and if x of n is shifted by k units, it is delayed by k units, then z transform of x of n minus k would be z power minus k into x of z, right? So whatever the amount of delays, that would be multiplied as a power of z and multiplied by x of z, which is z transform of x of n. Now in this example we are given a signal which is combination of unit step function n minus a delayed unit step function by n units, right? And we have to find out the z transform of this. So we can use the time shifting property to find out the z transform. We already know what is the z transform of unit step function, right? So the z transform of unit step function is 1 upon 1 minus z power minus 1, right? And similarly, z transform of delayed unit step function would be simply z power minus n divided by 1 upon 1 minus z power minus 1, and the z transform of entire signal would be this one. Now you can further simplify it by taking LCM. You can find out the transform of entire signal using time shifting property. Then we have a scaling property, and similarly, if x of n is the time domain signal and z transform of x of n is x of z, and if x of n is multiplied with a power n, then in z transform it would be scaled by a power minus 1 multiplied by z. Wherever z appears, z would be multiplied with a power minus 1. So this is called scaling property. Now let us solve an example using the scaling property. In this example, we are given a function a power n into cos omega naught n into u of n, and we have to find out the z transform. We already know the z transform of cos omega naught n into u of n. Now a power n is multiplied with m, so we can use scaling property to find out the z transform. So we know the z transform of cos omega naught n into u of n is equal to this function, right? So since this function is multiplied with a power n, we can multiply a power minus 1 wherever the z appears, right? Or a wherever z power minus 1 appears, right? So multiplying a with z power minus 1, or a square wherever there is z power minus 2, right? So here we have z power minus 1, which is multiplied with a. Similarly, z power minus 1 multiplied with a, z power minus 2 multiplied with a square, right? So this is final z transform of the using time using. Now we have time reversal property, and according to this, if x of n is the z transform of x of z, and if x of n is time reversed, then instead of z we write down z power minus 1 in the transform. Now in this example we have a unit step function which is time reverse, right? So we can use time reversal property to find out the z transform of unit step. So we know what is the z transform of simple unit step function, which is 1 upon 1 minus z power minus 1. Now it is time reversed, so wherever there is z, we will multiply it with power, would multiply its power with minus 1, right? So 1 upon 1 minus z power minus 1 would be simply z. Then differentiation in z domain, and here if x of n is multiplied with n, right, which is the independent variable, when x of n is multiplied with the independent variable, then it would result the differentiation with respect to z in z domain and multiplied with minus z, right. Now in this example we have a signal a power n into u of n, which is multiplied with independent variable, right. So this would result in differentiation in z domain multiplied by minus z, right. So we already know that the z transform of a power n into u of n is 1 upon 1 minus a into z power minus 1, right. Now since n is multiplied with this, so we have to find out the first derivative of this function on the right hand side with respect to z and multiply it with minus z. So using differentiating property, minus d upon dz of this function would be a power z minus 1 divided by 1 minus a into z power minus 1 whole square. So this is what the z transform of the signal x of n is. Now we have studied convolution of two sequences in time domain, and we know how hectic it is. We have to repeat these steps several times until there is no overlapping between two signals or between two systems. In z domain, however, it is very simple, right? So if x1 of n is a signal and x2 of n is another signal, and we want to find out the convolution of these two signals, then first we need to convert them into z domain, that is x1 of n is transformed into x1 of z, and x2 of n is transformed into x2 of z. Then the convolution between these two, x1 of n convoluted with x2 of n in z domain, is simply multiplication of. Now let us find out the convolution of x1 of n given by this sequence and x2 of n given by this function, right? So first we need to find out the z transform of x1 of n and x2 of n separately, right? So z transform of x1 of n simply would be 1 minus 2 power z minus 1 plus z power minus 2, and z transform of x2 of n would be 1 plus z power minus 1, z power minus 2, z power minus 3, z power minus 4 up to z power minus 5, and it is 0 elsewhere, right? So both are causal sequences. Now we can simply multiply these two, right, like simple algebraic multiplication, right? So convolution in z domain is simply algebraic multiplication between these two. So multiplication of x1 of z into x2 of z would be simple multiplication, and it would be equal to 1 minus z power minus 1 and minus z power minus 6 and plus z power minus 7. Now taking the inverse z transform, this is z power 0, right, z power this is z power 0 coefficient, this is z power minus 1 coefficient, and z power minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and minus 5 coefficients are 0. Z power minus 6 coefficient is minus 1, and z power minus 7 coefficient is 1. So we can make the convolution in a very simple way. Then we have initial and final value theorems, which are useful to find out the initial and final value of the sequences, right? So initial value theorem states if x of n is a causal sequence, then x of 0 would be equal to limit z tends to infinity x of z, right? So find out z transform of x of n and then evaluate this limit. You will find out the initial value of the sequence. Similarly, final value theorem states if x of n is a causal sequence, then x of infinity, the final value of x of n, can be determined by final value theorem, which states that x of z multiply with 1 minus z power minus 1 and limit z tends to 1. Right. So find out the z transform of x of n, then multiply it with 1 minus z power minus 1 and then evaluate this limit. You will find out the final value of the sequence. Now let us apply the final value theorem to find out the final value of x of z, which is given by this function. So first we can actually simplify this function, because we know later in final value theorem we are going to multiply x of z with 1 minus z power minus 1, right? So we can actually simplify this function by factorizing the denominator in this form, and the factors would be 1 minus z power minus 1 and 1 minus 0.8 into z power minus 1. Right. Now using the final value theorem, which is x of infinity equal to limit z tends to 1 minus z power minus 1 into x of z, and x of z is given by this equation. Right. So substituting the value of x of z, now 1 minus z power minus 1 would be cancelled with the 1 in the denominator, and then we can actually substitute the limit. Right. So substitute z equal to 1 here, here and here. Right. This one is already cancelled with this one. Right. So we'll get 2 upon 0.2, which is equal to 10. So 10 is the final. Now here are some exercise problems for your practice, and 3 functions are given, and you have to find out the z transform of these functions using the different properties we have discussed in this lecture. Right. For example, in this one I can see we have to use the differentiation property, because u of n would be multiplied with 1 and u of n would be multiplied with n. Right. So we can use linearity property as well as the differentiating property together. Similarly here you can use a linear property, or any other property which you think is suitable. Then compute the convolution of these signals using z transform method. Right. So find out the z transform of this, and then find out the algebraic multiplication, and then find out inverse z transform. Then we have to find out the final value of this function using final value theorem. Right. So first find out the z transform of this, and then apply final value theorem. So that is end of the lectures 12 and 13, and if you have any queries, you can send me an email given in the first slide of this lecture. I hope you have understood everything, and thank you very much for your attention.